We're going to dive into a report from MJ Business Daily about how cannabis industry weathered 2 years of the pandemic. We've already had a podcast about the decline in sales across North America in every single product category. We're going to look at year-over-year sales changes and talk a little bit more specifically about COVID and the pandemic and how that impacted sales, all of that coming up.
It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast.
So during the pandemic, people were at home. Edibles increased because everyone was worried about combustion and lighting up. But then, funny enough, some stories were coming out about how cannabis was going to help with that. So there's a patent 6630507, that has a neural protectant, and there was something, I think, to that effect about how it could help avoid certain issues with the pandemic. That was incredibly controversial. There are some studies that have shown that it does help, but I'm not a doctor. What do I know? All I know is that I've seen that sales have slowed when they were at a crazy ass pace. Edibles definitely coming back down, and flower kind of regaining market share, but at a lower rate. So we're sitting right around 40% for flower and 60% for everything else. Being an essential business, super helpful, except for, I think, was it Massachusetts, who had to figure that out a little bit longer than everybody else. But I think everyone figured it out eventually. Fast track to online ordering and delivery, curbside pickups, all of these things that were not even close to being legal, and people made exceptions. So I think that the pandemic sped up online delivery and really e-commerce by probably 10 years. Everyone, if you didn't have a website, if you weren't selling online, if you weren't offering pre-order, you were really kind of left in the dust. So a lot of that now is giving 10% discounts. Pre-order online, you have a different, you go into the store and there's a different queue for you to stand in line. It's faster. They have it ready for you. They give you that discount. What I'd like to see is a locker system where you go in and you just have a locker and you don't even have to wait in line. Because when you have 30% off once or twice a week, the lines are stupid. Like here in Seattle, on a Friday, you'll have 30% off at a couple of stores, and the lines are on a Friday afternoon, evening, are stupid. So I get in there at like 8 in the morning, because my industry discount is only 15%. So the Friday discount at 30 is twice that. So I go in, buy my ounce once a week, and off to the races. But a locker system would be definitely beneficial, since people are still looking for discounts with, like I said, across the board, every single product category sales are declining, probably because of inflationary pressures. When gas prices are $5 to $7 a gallon, get out of here. And you're not going to go and just randomly buy a beverage, infused beverage, for 20, 30 bucks or whatever. We also haven't seen any stimulus checks. There was a direct correlation to the uptick in the number of people consuming, how much they were consuming, and stimulus checks. So without stimulus checks, a lot of the purchases went away pretty quickly. Yeah, it was Massachusetts that needed to pull their head out of their ass for a while. They closed its adult use temporarily. Nevada was the hardest hit with tourism. They were curbside pickup and delivery only, but they got absolutely hammered because there was nobody going there. I just tried to buy a ticket for an event to go to from Seattle to Vegas. They wanted $800 for airfare. There's another event I'm going to in France, and they only wanted like $600. So airfare and gas and all that stuff, everyone's gouging right now because they just figure, oh, if you're out and about, I'm going to try and get like the last 2 years and recover that from you like right now. So it's insane. So early on in the pandemic, sales were already skyrocketing. We saw at least across at least 6 states initially, and then there's another 15 that we have data on from Headset. So by mid-March, we saw California and Colorado, Michigan, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, all of those states were 38% higher than the first full week of January that year. So everyone was going in and stockpiling basically. So there's a brief dip in late March when there was full lockdown, and then sales just continued to increase during the summer, peaking um, in August. So 59% greater sales than the first week of January, and then declining slightly towards the end of 2020 before surging again in the spring in 2021. So it looks like, the winter times people are a little hesitant, not really sure what's going on. There's, all these people saying one thing and another and have no clue, no idea what's going on, and just telling you um, basically just seem like fear porn left and right without any real data or information. Wear a mask, get vaccinated, don't wear a mask, wear two masks. Um, it's really stupid. Um, really unfortunate that how all that stuff went down by the same guy, Tony Science, that told you in 1980 in the 80s that not to have your kids too close to anyone who has AIDS because they can catch it. Like there's videos on that. Check it out. Tony is the reason. Fauci is the reason why we have homophobia in this country. Because when I was a kid, it was Fauci saying, "Don't be too close to people who have AIDS. You might get it." So misinformation has been around for a long time. We all need to put the Kool-Aid down, turn the TV off, and rub two brain cells together more often, and hate our neighbors less and talk more often. Just one example of the extreme online ordering at the height of the pandemic, 90% of this company in Arizona had sales that were online and only 10% in person. And now that's reversed. So people are going in more, probably because the online orders like California have a minimum delivery fee of $65 or minimum order fee or whatever. And now people are just going in more often. So I find that pretty fascinating. Especially with inflation, gas prices, delivery is going to be huge. Some of these folks are wanting to put in a drive-through. That's all about convenience, price and convenience. But unfortunate for some of the folks in like Vegas that charge $50,000 for an end cap to display. That's going to be a dramatic decrease in the revenue that they have if people are just having delivery. So it's going to have to be a continuous shift in terms of how they generate revenue for their own stores and get new products in the hands of consumers who aren't going into the stores to see those expensive end caps. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened in 2021. Cannabis value by market and product type between concentrates and edibles and others. You would think that concentrates would be worth a lot more. I don't think it's as popular as we're made to believe. I go in and I talk to bud tenders all the time, and between 3/4 and 95% of bud tenders all prefer flower. It's the price of concentrate and it's the lack of the full high. So dabs are kind of this heady high. It's isolated high, whereas flower kind of gives you this full body, full, I don't want to say full spectrum high, but a different high. And yet this concentrate, the value here, I find fascinating that it's almost as valuable as the edibles brand, which has a lot more appeal to a lot wider of a market. Edibles, which grew really fast during the pandemic, are expected to only grow by about 20% this year. I mean, it's still pretty big. Brightfield is expecting that edibles are going to overtake flower as the fastest growing market by next year. I would agree with that because flower, like we said, is going to probably stop at around 40% of total market share and 60% for everything else. And adult use sales have already surpassed their projections of future medical market size. So it's growing. They're thinking that concentrates are expected to overtake flower's growth rate, maybe. Yeah, that'll be interesting. But medical, yeah, is only going to be 5%. It's really, really small. It's not an advantage to have medical. Literally, the cost of your card is more than the annual savings you're going to have on buying it. So what's the point? Like we've mentioned before, some of the younger generations that are coming into age are rapidly growing, continuing the sales pace and driving that fervor for the 420 sales coming up. CBDs out there. Obviously, CBG is great. I like CBG for inflammation. CBN is decent too. That 1-to-1 ratio, though, regardless of the cannabinoid, grab THC and an equal amount to something else. So 1-to-1 CBD to to THC or whatever. I like that 1-to-1 ratio. If you haven't tried it, do it. It's got kind of a nice, euphoric, energetic, uplifting feeling like coffee without the crash. So definitely recommend that. Key takeaways: that concentrates are going to be a value add for producers, but I don't think they're going to be a main driver. You definitely want to have solvent free no matter what. Somebody at some point in time is going to have an issue with solvents, and you always want to make sure that you have at least a solvent free option on the shelf in case regulators come down on you. Gummies, another huge category. Just don't call them gummies, call them chewies, because you don't want the regulators to come after you thinking you're trying to target kids with gummies that have flashy colors and shapes. Flower is dominant, but it's only going to be 4/10 of the total market. And then live rosin concentrates are huge. In Canada, they are growing over 400% per year. There's this kind of natural, healthy ideation around it. People think that solventless is better for you. I like them myself. I go after those. I find that I don't know about if it's the viscosity or the way it's made or whatever, but I feel like it's better on my throat. Like there's less of these, other cutting agents in there. And then finally, brands are going to look to expand their footprint and try to be probably acquired by some of these other behemoths in the market. Let me know what you guys think. What's your favorite product? Where you guys at? How much you things cost? Let me know.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.